Okay, so welcome back to the Zoom room. Good little chat about awareness, moment by moment, being vigilant, and also letting go. Oh, hearing live stream, we have an error. Okay, don't know why there's an error. Sorry, this is challenging. Let's see. I'm on another connection now. Can you hear me okay, Susie?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we can. I'm on my mobile signal. It seems to be the most stable, so we'll stick with that for the moment. Okay, so let's try again. We're recording on there. Oh, actually, we are live. Oh, okay. Thought it didn't do it, but it is. All right. So we've got the live stream going. So welcome, and yeah, let's have a look at our teaching for today. So I'll jump into. All right, so share my screen with you. Yeah, there we go. Share screen. All right, so if you can read the sorry, this is a bit dire. I'm going to see. I'm just going to see if I can go down the road. There's somewhere I can go and run it with stable internet, because this is crazy. It's. Can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you, but I agree with what you're saying. I think
It's just
not
going
fair
in and out, and I've got two connections going, and neither of them seems to be particularly particularly stable. I'm on a mobile signal now. And the internet, there's a problem with the BT. It's unstable in and out. So let me see if I can get. It was okay on my mobile signal yesterday. It's quite windy today. Maybe that's affecting it. Just give me a moment.
That's all right. Take time.
Yeah, I'm just, a session where you keep dropping in and out is terrible. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating for everyone because just as you get going, you never know when you're gonna drop. And then I'm answering. All right. Well, let's just go with that. So that's been stable for a couple of minutes. Let's hope that it will be. Okay. So, yeah, it's showing my screen. All right. Let's ask Spirit for some guidance about the connection. Want some help? So, would you like to read the quote? Kick it off.
To forgive is the highest, most beautiful form of love. In return, you will receive untold peace and happiness.
So today's quote by a guy called Robert Muller. He was a German-born British screenwriter. Speaks of the great gifts that forgiveness brings from the most beautiful form of love, which is called agape or divine love. So this is a love that is unconditional, which means that it is given irrespective of a person's personality and worldly role, or what they've done or not done in this world. It's unconditional love, so it means no conditions. You love just because that person is, because they have being, because they are a life entity. There's an awareness and a respect and a connection. So it's not the kind of attached love that's special in any way. Say, oh, I love you so much because you're so special to me. But it actually is the opposite. Denies the specialness that the ego or separate self wants to make of every relationship and situation to confirm the illusion of its separate identity. So remember, the special relationship is purely there as a device of the ego to maintain the separation in your mind and in the mind of the other person. So I, separate self, relate to you, separate self, and now we have a special relationship. We are each special to the other, and we confirm to each other that our separate identities are true. That's the nature of the special relationship, which is what most relationships in this world are. People identified with the role, identified with themselves as the person, seemingly individual person in the relationship with the other person who's seen as other to them. And it's all very separative. And then inevitably in that construct, you're going to get all of the consequences of separation coming in. So guilt underlies every belief in separation. Fear, attack thoughts, so accusation, blame, complaint characterize those kinds of relationships. Laced with guilt, a lot of fear, anger, hatred all come in because you're seeing the other person as separate from you. And then it seems to be justified. These emotions seem to be justified accordingly. So the only way to feel this unconditional love is to let go of every thought and emotion that blocks your awareness of it. So very simply, it's just saying, right, the blocks are the problem. Your natural state is unconditional love, but you have these blocks like guilt and sin and fear, attack thoughts, jealousy, anger, rage, hatred. There's a whole range of emotions, but every one is a block to the underlying awareness that it covers over. So that's the veil of illusion. And I had my sort of mystic insight after 9 days of meditation. It was very clear to me that the whole world is just a projection of this ego mind, of the separate mind that has now projected this world out in order to justify the thoughts and the emotions that are necessary to cover over that awareness which I just experienced. You see, so yeah, the world is required. That's the task the ego has given it to now justify these thoughts and emotions, justify these blocks. So sin, guilt, fear, anger, sadness, any negative thought or emotion that denies or negates love. That's why it's called negative, because it negates that which is true. So it has no positive existence of its own. It's purely a resistance to, a denial of that which is, hence negative. And if you said it as negative, that actually changes a little bit, doesn't it? Negative, negative. It's negative, that thought. It's a denial thought. And those are all that stand between you and the experience of unconditional love. Those thoughts and those emotions. Very, very simple. So why would you resist? Only because you value your special ego identity far more than the experience of unconditional love. This is the simple choice we all must make in there. Forgiveness or letting go of all the blocks to the awareness of unconditional love that show up in response to people and events that come into our lives, provoke them, is the way we make this choice. So the theory is simple, but the practice is where it can get challenging, because our egos resist letting go of these blocks for dear life, because they are their life. Well, those blocks are what the ego is made up of. That's the ego's life or existence. So it has to be negative. The ego doesn't exist without the negative. So the delusion of the ego is that it somehow within that negative thought system, you can find happiness and you can make it work. And you're just saying you never will. You'll never find happiness. You'll never find peace. You'll never find love, because the thought system negates those by definition. So don't even try. You simply have to let go of what negates the truth. Let go or deny the denial of truth, and then you're back in truth. The theory is simple, but this practice of actually doing it, as we know, is anything but, because you're constantly having to face these blocks which come up, and then they seem to be reality and they seem to be the truth. So that's why it's given us the daily mind training lessons to help us to practice forgiving or letting go of the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, as he calls it in the introduction to the text. As you become aware of them every day. So it's a moment by moment practice of being vigilant, being aware of what's coming up, being aware of those blocks, of what's negative of love, and then letting it go, denying it. And it's a very simple idea, very simple practice, but to do it means it requires your vigilance and attention and practice. So he's given us the lessons to give us a new form of practicing that every day, so we don't get horribly bored if it's just the same form, the same idea. He switches it every day. There's another lesson, because he knows that the mind at our point in learning requires some variety. So it gives us these different lessons which give us different aspects of the truth, but one aspect points to the whole. That's the nature of both the egos and the Holy Spirit's thought system. One component of it points you to the whole. So this is our practice every day, to practice letting go of the blocks to the awareness of the love's presence, using the daily mind training lessons, and experience the peace, happiness, and other great gifts that discipline in this practice always results in. Right? If you practice diligently, you do experience more peace, more happiness, more joy, and that's the immediate reward. I'm feeling better about myself, about life. My life flows better. That's the immediate benefit. Long term, you're attaining heaven, state of pure formless awareness. But that's the long-term goal. Moment by moment, it's in your experience of life, you see the benefits. Okay, so any questions on any of that? I mean, it's all just a review.
So all the
Really
ego
of what
came
you already
into.
know, but every day we practice. We go over. Every day we go over the same thing, because we need to remind ourselves of the truth over and over. It's very easy, if you don't practice, to forget, and you get sucked in by the ego's shenanigans, and it's telling you that this is real, and then you've got negative thoughts going on and emotions, and that covers over the truth, and then you get caught in that, and it's not a pleasant reality, as we know. And then you've got to remind yourself of this truth. Okay, this is just another block to the awareness of love's presence. The whole point of it, the only point of the ego, is to negate or deny love. That's all it's trying to do, always. So you may well ask, well, what's the point of such an entity? Well, exactly. It's just saying there is no point. There is no genuine purpose or reason for the ego to exist. It's denied, must be let go of completely. So that brings us to our session today. So we're in. And today's lesson. Nice lead into today's lesson, which is very short and sweet because it's just a review lesson. But before we read that, I thought maybe we can go into the review, because the introduction to the review, because it's a review lesson. So if you want to read this, let's go into the review. Okay, so this is Introduction to Review 4. We're going into another series of review lessons, 10 lessons. So this is the introduction. He always really just pauses. I like these introductions, because he's pausing. He's saying, okay, so let's just review where we are in your process. Let's not talk so much about the content in these introductions to reviews, but let's talk about the process of your training. Let's see, like any good coach, you check in and from time to time with your student. Okay, so how's it going? How's your practice going? How's the process of this going? Before we dive into more reviewing of content, and that's what he does with these reviews. So always worth reading. So if you want to read it in the alternative, there's not much to translate in the first paragraph anyway. So
now I review again, this time aware I am preparing. What?
right.
Now I review again, this time. Yeah. Oh, this time I am preparing for the second part of learning how the truth can be applied. Today, I will begin to concentrate on readiness for what will follow next. This is my aim for this review and for the lessons following it. And so I review the recent lessons and their central thoughts in a way that will facilitate the readiness that I aim to achieve now.
Yeah, it's a nice little intro saying this is my aim. Begin to concentrate on readiness. We're getting prepared for what's to come. Preparing for the second part of learning how the truth can be applied. Readiness for what will follow next. So the second part, I think he's referring here to the second part of the workbook, which is still 100 lessons away, but he's kind of warming us up for that. It's second part starts at lesson 221. First part is more about the undoing, and the second part is more about the application of truth. So hence he splits it into two. So readiness, that's the theme. Let's be ready. Let's be vigilant, and take that readiness with us into the lessons. Okay. Happy with number one. Number two. There is a central theme.
There is a central theme.
So this one's got a bit of translation too. So read it in the original and then the alternative, sentence by sentence.
There is a central theme that unifies each step in the review we undertake, which can be simply stated in these words. There is a central theme that unifies each step in the review I undertake, which can be simply stated in these words. My mind holds only what I think with God. My awareness holds only what I think with perfect love. That is a fact and represents the truth of what you are and what your Father is. That is a fact and represents the truth of what you and I am.
Sorry. I am what my source is.
That is a fact that is a fact and represents the truth of what I am and what my source is. It is this thought by which the Father gave creation to the Son, establishing the Son as co-creator with himself. It is this thought by which the source gave being to its extension, establishing the extension as an extender of perfect love like itself.
No. Okay, so what's he saying there? Source gave being to its extension and establishes us as an extender of perfect love like itself. So we are exactly as our source. We can extend as our source extends. We become like the source, extending love. That becomes our only true function.
I lost myself then thinking about the oneness and thinking, well, what we're doing now, because I'm just believing everything's one. So yes, sorry. Yeah.
Well, this is all aspects of oneness. It's how oneness seems to play out and look in this world. In a world of separation, it seems like love's being extended outwards from us. So I extend to someone else, and that's oneness in action. Love has this extensive quality. So whenever you're really in unconditional love, there's a natural desire to share it. Have you noticed? I want to extend. I want to give, not for any gain, not because I want to get something, just because the quality of that love is naturally extensive. It wants to extend. And when we say extensive in the English language, it's like this quality of extending outwards. So that's what he's pointing to here. Is this thought by which the source gave being to its extension. Okay, so there's this extensive, this is how creation happened. Being, it's like the source of life, of awareness itself, quality of extending itself to everything and everyone. Now, with the fragmentation, apparently the mind, that awareness exists in fragmented parts, and these little bodies wandering around. but nevertheless, the extension continues. And it happens in our awareness moment by moment, if we're aware of it. Or with the egos now as an alternative in our minds, we can block it out and go, no, I don't want to be aware of that. I want to maintain my separate identity. So then I have to block that extension. I have to block my awareness of the extension. I have to block my ability to extend. Okay, so carry on. Number 5 is this thought that fully guarantees.
It is this thought that fully guarantees extension will awaken. But only the thoughts it shares can be in my awareness. Resistance to letting go blocks this thought from my awareness. It is forever true. Sorry, I didn't go down to the screen needed to be moved, sorry. She wanted me to do...
That's okay. No, it's pretty much the same in the...
Right, okay.
Lack of forgiveness. So lack of forgiveness or resistance to letting go, I call it. So lack of forgiveness is resistance to letting go, blocks this thought from my awareness. Yet it is forever true.
Need to know how to neglect the ego because it's very strong. Well, it is. It's a mind that doesn't really have any training unless you do something like this.
Well, its only intention is to be negative.
Yeah.
To negate this awareness of source, of this extensive love that's in you, and that's its only function and purpose. So it has no function in truth. It's a delusion. But if you've believed in the delusion for so long, and this is your pattern, then it requires a lot of correction.
Yeah.
As you're doing it, as that resistance arises, the awareness says, okay, no, this is not what I want. I'm not gonna choose this any longer, because this offers me nothing. This offers me pain, suffering, misery, sickness, death. All pain and suffering come from my negation of the truth in my mind. And we do that over and over and over again to ourselves. And this mind training is saying, be aware of it when you're doing it, and then change your mind. You can actually let go of those thoughts and feelings as they arise. There's a part of your mind, the Holy Spirit, that can be aware of them and say, no, these are not the truth. The deeper truth, the remembrance of perfect love, is always there, beyond the resistance, beyond the negation. So access that, and from that point of view, then the blocks become just a resistance, just something that obscures those. So let them go.
I like the idea of neglecting the ego. We never hear of that, do we?
Yeah.
Because we know how to neglect love because we may have been shown that through an experience, but neglecting the ego.
Yeah. Oh. So you neglect the ego by letting go of the thoughts and the emotions that it sponsored. So as those come up, you don't entertain them. What it wants you to do is latch onto the thought, to think the thought, to believe it. So now I have a whole load of emotions, a cascade of emotions that come from the thought, and really work it, juice it. We know what that means. We juice these things. The situation comes in, you get a trigger, and then your mind starts thinking, and then you start the emotions going, and before you know it, you're really juicing that situation, and the emotions are starting to come, and the ego is loving it, because all of that mental and emotional activity covers over pure formless awareness, and that's all it's trying to do. So the drama of your special relationships is purely there to cover over pure formless awareness. That's why the ego invented special relationships. See that? That's the only point to it. So once you understand that, you have a whole different perspective on the relationship. The special relationship was not made to make you happy. It was made to cover over and negate and deny pure formless awareness of perfect love, unconditional love. That's the purpose of it. In its unholy state, in its holy state, reinterpreted, it becomes the way that we learn unconditional love. Because we let go of those blocks as they arise in us, and we perceive the other person as they truly are, which is the same as us. Just a mind seemingly separated from its source, seeking love, looking for the love that it's denied, and looking for it in the special relationship. That's why we invent them. So we look for that love we think we're missing in the special relationship, and we never find it if we remain in our separate state. Because I, separate self, love you, separate self, is not unconditional love. That's special love. I've defined myself as a separate self. I've defined you as a separate self. Now, the best we can do is some kind of attachment. I love you. No, I'm attached to you. I need you. If someone says, I need you. Go, whoa. No, let's stop that, because now we're into codependency. No, you don't really need me, because actually you have your source. You might choose to commune with me. It's nice to hang out together in the source, in the awareness of the source together. That's the holy relationship. It feels very nurturing, very connecting, very loving, but there's no need there because you're whole and complete unto yourself, right? So it's more of an extending and a sharing. Oh, I like spending time with you. We hang out together. There's a mutual understanding. There's a connection. There's a flow of love. But as soon as need comes in, then you've got a special relationship. Because now I need you for something. And if I don't get what I need, then I feel deprived. And then I have a grievance because you haven't provided what I think I need. And that's egocentral. And that's that dynamic of you not meeting my needs characterizes most special relationships, doesn't it? That's how it goes. My needs aren't being met, so now I'm justified in having a grievance. Each partner thinks their needs aren't being met, and all that's designed to do is keep them apart in their awareness. Okay, so we'll summarize number 2. Quite a good paragraph. That. What's the key message there?
It's to be true to yourself. It's to be true to your own source. And to know that it's a game of the ego, isn't it? All that specialness, how you just explained so well, of how we're tricked into this false love. So it's always telling you to look. And like you said, you make the choice. And moment by moment, if we are aware, you can choose source. Because there's no attachment with source, because that's your true relationship.
Yeah.
It's such a game, isn't it? When you see this and you see what you can actually see that at play, can't you? Guilt and sin and anger and resistance. And it's because nobody really believes in their source anymore, do they? If anybody has done. We're just being led now to the truth of who we are, which has always been there.
Yeah, we cut ourselves off, and then a special relationship.
Yeah.
Special relationship is a substitute for our connection to our source. That's its purpose. course. That's to substitute that's in everyone. Now we seek it outside of ourselves in the special relationship. Of course, you'll never find it there because you've denied it in yourself. So how can you find what's out now apparently external to you? Okay.
You still there, John?
Love's present. And then I let them go. And so the special relationship transformed into the holy one becomes how you way of letting go of the ego and accept in my special relationships. No, correctly interpreted, they are there to trigger all of the blocks. So they come up, then perfect. They're in your awareness, and now you can apply this letting go philosophy to them and let them go. And so you undo those blocks systematically and progressively as they arise. So the special relationship is the fast track. This is the quickest way. Reinterpreting your special relationship is the quickest way to awaken. This is the means of meditating for hours and hours a day. That will work in the end, but this is tedious and time consuming. The quickest way, fast track to enlightenment. Take your special relationships and bring the Holy Spirit, the remembrance of perfect love, into them and practice this radical letting go moment by moment in those relationships. And then you are undoing these blocks as they arise and awakening, using the relationship for what it's really for, which is your awakening to the truth. And then allowing the relationship to become holy, i.e. pure, innocent. So now the relationship is dedicated to unconditional love, not to maintaining the blocks to the awareness of unconditional love. Does it make sense? It's a very, very simple teaching, but you have to accept it. You accept it or you reject it. Okay, the purpose of my relationships is not to make me happy in my little separate self-ego, which is never going to happen. The purpose is to awaken me to who I really am. And the other person as well, because we are the same self. We just have forgotten that. We think we're separate. So the holy purpose of the relationship is to awaken both people to the truth of who they are. Okay, so happy to move on to number 3, or any questions about number 2?
No, all right.
Okay. So number 3.
Alternative, do you want to go through, or?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Just forgiveness changes to forgiveness becomes letting go. So the idea of forgiveness, true forgiveness, is that you let go of those blocks. It's so simple. You don't forgive anyone else. You let go of your own blocks to the awareness of love's presence that they trigger. It's subtle, but it's a very profound difference, isn't it? The one is, I've got to somehow forgive you external to me, so it still maintains the separation, which is why most people struggle with forgiveness, because they're still trying to forgive another person who's apparently real in their perception. Whereas if you focus on letting go of your own negative thoughts and emotions, that's much more doable. Okay, they've just triggered something that's arising in me. I'm feeling the anger, the hatred, or the fear, or whatever it is. Okay, well, I can let that go. And in the letting go of that negative thoughts and emotion, I forgive the other person. That's how it works. And it's so simple, but that's an insight that most people don't have with forgiveness. They don't understand that's what it really is. That's why we use the language letting go rather than forgiving, because it makes
Yeah.
it very clear. I must let go of my own blocks. That's always my responsibility. And no one else can do that for me. When I do that, then I am forgiving the other person. If I've truly let go of any negative thoughts and emotion I was feeling towards them or about them, then I've forgiven them. Which is then makes forgiveness quite understandable and practical and doable. In my view, I think that's very, very straightforward and simple. Okay, I just need to let go of my own stuff. That this person is triggered. And if I can do that, then I will perceive them differently. My perception of them and my relationship with them will have transformed. And that's then becomes the holy relationship. Okay, so let me begin my preparation.
Sorry, it's nice to hear you go off on one.
Is it?
It's really good to see you like that. It's just that every time when you keep cutting through, I think, what a great topic and what a great, you want to make sure you've caught all of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me begin by preparation with some understanding of the many forms in which the lack of true letting go may be carefully concealed. Because they are illusions. They may not.
I may not. Sorry.
I may not perceive them to be.
So I tell you, I'll give you a little letting go story. This is like 4 o'clock in the morning. I've done this translation, and then because the internet was dodgy, it said, "Oh, do you want to accept the changes or something?" I said, "Yes, yeah." And so then it included the stuff that I deleted. God. I've just spent like half an hour doing this, and now it's just added it all back. I was like, oh, it took a couple of minutes to let go of. Then you just go, okay, whatever, resistance is futile. Just do it. But I missed a couple anyway. That's why we go through it now again. So the document. So I may not perceive them to be what they really are.
I may not perceive them to be what they really are. Defenses that protect my negative thoughts from being seen, perceived, and recognized. Their purpose is to show me something else and stop me from letting go of self-deceptions made to take its place.
Yeah, so what's he saying there?
To prepare yourself. Because there's a lot of, like you've just explained about the true letting go of forgiveness. Letting go is forgiveness. And that's hidden in so many ways because you don't believe it is a letting go. You think you've got to go around and forgive this, to forgive that, but it's the whole point of letting go. They are all illusions. It's the way we've seen them. It's the way we've been made to see them. And you see it all the time now, especially when you read it like this, that we do get defended. We get offensive and we want to defend the ego because we believe it's the truth, because we've made it special. But it's just letting you know that to prepare yourself because it will happen. But like you said, the simple truth there is the forgiveness is just purely letting go.
Yeah, which is why we do the translation. I think 95% of people in the world who may have encountered forgiveness, we've all heard of it, probably 99%, they don't understand what it is. One thing that's going to save them, that's going to free them, they don't understand what it is and how to do it. It's probably the most misunderstood practice. Most people think, well, forgiveness requires that I somehow have to pardon, sort of let go of my judgment of this person, but the situation is real and the person is real, and now I've somehow got to stop feeling my negative thoughts and emotions about it. So from that perspective, you're never going to succeed because you've made it real to start with. You're seeing yourself as separate from the other person. You're not understanding the metaphysics. Without that understanding that this is a setup. The ego set me up for separation here. It's showing me this false thought system through this person and through this relationship. It's triggering these emotions in me. Precisely just. The only reason is to cover over my pure formless awareness of perfect love. That's the only thing that's going on. And the other person's. So I just need to let go of those thoughts and emotions. That's it. Simple. Identify what those blocks are as they arise and make a conscious choice, step 2 of the process, to let them go, because you know that they do not serve you. Now you understand the purpose that they fulfill. Why then is a relationship so fragmented? Why do special relationships have so much pain and suffering? Because the ego requires that in order to cover over or negate the truth in both people in the relationship, and that's its unholy purpose. So their purpose is to show me something else and stop me from letting go, or self-deceptions made to take its place. It's such a simple teaching, isn't it? So there's no ambiguity. There's no like fudging it. And I haven't come across this clarity in any other teaching. Maybe Advaita, but I haven't studied that in depth. So I don't know about the actual practice of Advaita. Advaita is the non-dual. What I like about the Course is he's got the non-dual metaphysics, the truth. And then the practice of it's like, okay, well, this is how the truth is applied in practice, in your life, in your relationships. This is what you have to do, which makes it very practical. We can actually do that. Okay, it's giving us a practice that we need to follow in order to apply the metaphysics, to learn this high-level truth that we are all one and no illusions are true. But that plays out practically in our daily life, particularly in our relationships with others. So the Course's focus is on relationships, possibly more than any other spiritual path, because he knows that those relationships are where the ego comes to the fore, and how it arises and it maintains and perpetuates itself in your mind. So that's where these teachings are most needed. That's why he spends 9 chapters of the text dedicated mostly to the special relationships, so that you understand them. You go, these are in the ego's hands. The counter, he said, in fact, yesterday in the text, I don't know if you read it, he said, so the Holy Spirit was created by God in response to the ego, and then the ego, in counter to that, makes up the special relationship to counter the Holy Spirit, to give us another form of love. See, the temptation is, it's very cunning, isn't it? That it seems to be love. The ego is telling you that's love. And to give you allegiance to that and go for that, because that's going to satisfy you, that's love. But it's not. It's a denial of love. It just seems to be love. But underneath it, it's laced with the ego's guilt and sin and the attack thoughts and all those negative thoughts and emotions that characterize separation. And so he's asking us, we have to be really honest. This is where a lot of people struggle with the Course. Okay, this is how it really is. What he's saying is true. I have to accept that. If I don't accept that, I will think that my special relationships, as they are designed to make me happy. And they never will make me happy, because there's always going to be the drama. And yet people still believe that. You look at the way most people live their lives and society works, people are still seeking the special love partner. It's one of the major goals in their lives. because they think that therein lies their happiness. They'll find a special love partner and then they'll be happy. And, this is the answer. And so there's this drive to find that person. And then everyone, when they find that person, is disappointed. It doesn't fulfill their expectations. Because their expectations were false. That person, as a separate person in a special relationship, could never make you happy. It's never going to work. The only purpose of the relationship is to help you to become aware of the blocks to the awareness of love's presence and let them go. But we don't get taught this. Who teaches you this? You think of all the nonsense you learn at school and if you go to higher education, and no one teaches you these fundamentals, do they? Okay, what's a relationship really for? I mean, that would be hugely helpful, but we don't get taught it. We just buy into the general illusion. Oh, well, a relationship is to make me happy. Or, this other person is going to fulfill me, make me happy, give me something I feel like I'm lacking. And most people buy into that. So he's correcting that, saying, no, don't buy that. Understand what it's really for. And if you accept that, you save yourself years of pain and suffering and misery. Because you're not trying to make the relationship into something that it's not. You're not looking for salvation in the specialness of it. You're just using it as your daily practice of letting go. Okay, some more stuff's coming up. I need to let go some more. So, it can be hugely helpful in our awakening. If we allow it to be. Okay. Any other thoughts on number 3? No?
No.
Maybe number 4? Susie?
Yep.
Am I frozen? Are you frozen? Susie, are you there?
I'm there. You keep freezing. You keep cutting out.
Sorry, Susie. Dropped out there. Saying my internet's unstable. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Sorry, just dropped out there. So should we
Keep going, Jono.
Four?
It's okay, kept cutting out. And yet my awareness holds only what I think with perfect love. My self-deceptions cannot take the place of truth, no more than can a child who throws a stick into the ocean change the coming and the going of the tides, the warming of the water by the sun, the silver of the moon on it by night. So I start each practice period in this review with ready in my mind to understand the lessons that I read and their true meaning.
Okay, so what's he saying in that one?
Stick to this practice of the awareness of source, because that's all you need to do, because perfect love's always there. And nothing else can take away the truth. It's all about your, like you said, your focus and being alert to it all, isn't it?
Hmm.
And start each practice in that way of knowing that it's like sitting in awareness rather than identity all the time, because identity is just going to throw you off into the ego.
Hmm. I like the analogy he uses of no more than can a child who throws a stick into the ocean. Change the coming and the going of the tides, warming of the water by the sun, the silver of the moon on it by night. Very poetic. I mean, he's isn't it? It's beautiful. But using these analogies that we're familiar with in nature.
You're gone again, Jono.
Illusion, but yes, we know, we've got no power to change the tides. These they just happen. Whether we so it's like a truth. The truth is there. The truth is true, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not. It's there. It's a constant. So the only thing is, will you work with the tides? Oh, Christine's joined us, which is nice.
Sorry, Jono.
Hi, Christine.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Hello.
Oh, welcome.
Oh, we've got a new face.
Yes, Susie's back. I think it's been 2 weeks, Susie. Something like that. Has it been 2 weeks?
I was going to say,
You
John,
joined us 2 weeks ago.
I was going to say, you've been speaking so passionately, but you keep cutting out, and it's not fair that you've got so much great stuff to say, and it keeps cutting out, and it keeps coming up.
Well,
so.
I am recording it onto the Telegram, and it's recorded on YouTube. So hopefully, if you miss stuff, you'll be able to catch up with it. I'm just struggling with my internet today, so tomorrow I might have to go somewhere else.
Throw it against the wall.
Sorry?
Throw it against the wall. That usually works.
I heard what she said. It's very good. Just make yourself
Against the wall. Right. Okay.
It usually works for all
Reboot the computer.
Yes.
Out of the window.
Yes.
In the introduction to today's review lessons. So we're going to another series of reviews. So Christine, if you can read number 5 for us. I'll begin each day.
I must just go and switch the grill off, otherwise something's going to burn.
Right, okay. All right, you want to do it. That's easy. Begin each day.
Okay, I begin each day with time devoted.
Can you see that? Okay, Christine's back. All right, I begin each day.
I begin each day with time devoted to the preparation of my mind to learn what each idea I will review that day can offer me in freedom and peace. I open my awareness and clear it of all thoughts that deceive, and let this thought alone engage it fully and remove the rest. My awareness holds only what I think with perfect love. 5 minutes with this thought will be enough to set the day along the lines of perfect love intent, and to allow this awareness to direct all my thoughts that day. That was pretty difficult. I mean, I did read something along these lines somewhere this morning. And then I had to go off and teach crochet to 2 little girls.
Okay.
And I was mustering patience. I had to slow myself right down to basic steps. And although I was sending them loving kindness, I was very aware of my lack of peace and freedom, because it was quite strange. So
well, that's good, because at least you're aware of it. Being aware of the blocks is the first step in correcting them. If you're not aware of them, then they become you, and there's no ability to let go of them, is there? So.
But in the 2 hours that I was with them, I didn't give this a moment's thought.
Okay, but you were aware in that time that you needed to practice patience, and that there was some resistance.
Yeah.
It starts to become ingrained. The more you practice, it's like, okay, you may not remember the lesson for the day, the form of it, but it's an awareness that comes in, that starts to become ever present the more you practice this. And so if you're aware of the resistance, you're aware that you weren't feeling free and peaceful, then you're not fully in the ego, are you? Because there's an awareness that something's untoward.
Yes, yes. So
and it needs correction.
letting go of the impatience was
Hmm.
what I was concentrating on, being very aware that I was back in school mama mode, you know,
Yeah.
teacher mode, telling them what to do. And I was going too fast for them, and they were fumbling, and I was impatient.
Yeah.
I didn't say
Yeah.
anything. It's just that I intervene and try and rectify them all the time.
Hmm.
So the
Yeah.
self-judgment is huge.
So what you start noticing is that they are just a projection of your own mind. And as you treat them, so you treat yourself. And that's a very useful insight to have.
Yeah.
So they're just the mirror of your own self projecting back to you. And if you don't like what you see, then there's work to do. There's some letting go to do.
Yeah, which I did as best I could.
Yeah, well, that's good. So you may not have remembered the exact form of the lesson, but if you remember the overall picture, I need to be aware here, I need to let go on some level, then all is not lost.
Yeah.
And I think give yourself credit. You're quite hard on yourself, aren't you? So it's to give yourself credit and say, well, actually I'm doing all right because I am aware. Okay, the resistance that's what the ego does. I'm aware of it. I'm doing my best to let it go. Okay, well, I'm doing all right then. At least I'm practicing the letting go. You might not think that you're succeeding perfectly, but there's an awareness there and you're trying. So that's okay. Because that's all we're required to do. It says give some willingness and practice this. You're not going to get it all perfect because there will be ego's resistance, but you keep trying, you keep practicing, and then there's always the Holy Spirit's always there undoing the ego. So although the ego is trying, there's a counter force to it. What it wants really is for you just to lose yourself down its rabbit hole, and you forget entirely about the Holy Spirit, and you're just consumed by the ego's thoughts and emotions, and there's no other awareness. That's the ego's intention, and that's what the Holy Spirit is going to prevent in you. And you've come too far down this spiritual path to ever be able to fully go back into the ego. There will always be an awareness. No, something's wrong here.
Okay.
Which is good. So that's a sign of advancement. There will always be a part of your mind that says, no, okay, I can perceive, I'm aware that this is incorrect, and that I need to let it go. That may not always be easy to let it go, but the awareness is step one. That's key. So by doing this practice, you're cultivating that awareness more and more. So you become more and more aware. And then it might seem, because you're more aware of the ego, that actually the ego is even stronger than it'd ever be. But actually, it was always there. You just weren't aware of it before. So it might seem that it's stronger, but actually, this is part of the process of weakening it and undoing it. Oh my God, 99% of my thoughts are egoic. Oh my God, like this is terrible. Well, no, it's not. It's good that you're noticing, because the awareness before wasn't there to notice. You just were playing in the ego, and it was playing you for a fiddle, and you didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Now you're starting to know it. Okay, well, you think about analogy in this world. If you don't even know you're in prison, how can you escape? Do you see? Whereas if you recognize, okay, I'm actually in prison here. This is bondage. This is enslavement. Okay, I need to escape. Now I'm one step ahead. A bit like the Plato's cave analogy. The prisoners chained to each other and staring at the images on the wall, don't even know they're in prison. So they don't even know there's such a thing as escape. They think like what they're seeing is the whole reality. So the first step in the awakening would be for the awakening person to go, hang on, this isn't right. Like, this doesn't feel good. I'm feeling restricted and I'm feeling imprisoned here. Why? That's the first step, isn't it? And then you start questioning. Okay, well, why do I feel like I'm imprisoned? And what's the cause of my imprisonment? And then you start asking questions. And that inquiry will ultimately lead you to the truth and to the awakening. So it's uncomfortable, and you become aware of your imprisonment. And then people go, oh, no, go back to how it was before because it was a better state. No, you were just unconsciously imprisoned. And so those negative thoughts and emotions, just, you thought they were you. You thought that was you. You thought that was your life. You thought that was reality. And there was nothing countering it. And you were just swimming in your own misery. It's like fishes in water. You ask a fish what water is, they don't understand the question. It's like, well, that's everything. The water's everything. It's only the fish that jumps up, flying fish, and goes, oh, there's something called air. Wow, that's interesting. That's a whole nother reality there. So you need to then become uncomfortable in the water in order to seek the air. So it's good that you're noticing, and then you apply the practice as best you can. And if you didn't do it perfectly, then that's part of your letting go, your forgiveness of yourself, to let go of needing to get it perfectly right.
So practice makes perfect. So the next time I have them,
Yeah,
I'll have far more
next
awareness.
time you do it better. You'll be more aware. Go, okay, well, let me this time, I'll take the lesson with me. I'll make a note of it. I'll write it down, and maybe I'll take a little break. I'll give them 5 minutes on their own, and I'll take a pause, and I'll go do a breath break. Go to the toilet or something and do a breath break. Listen to it, just to do it better next time. And there's no, oh well, I did it badly, I'm terrible. It's just like, no, I'll iterate and I'll improve it. I'll get better next time.
Okay, so these daily, hourly reminders are very important because it definitely keeps us on the page.
Yeah, it's a stop. He's trying to give us the tools to stop the ego, because he knows how insistent it is, and he knows it's going to come in all the time. The whole of your life is this struggle between the Holy Spirit and the ego. That's your life here. Which one in any moment is dominating. And the world was set up by the ego to allow it to be dominant, right? It's the ego's world. So, the dominant thought system here is the ego's. You're playing in its playground, seemingly by its rules. Well, you have to have a lot of awareness and vigilance to not get sucked into that game, to play the Holy Spirit's game instead. And so hourly practice reminds you, okay, I'm playing the Holy Spirit. Remember, okay, I'm playing the Holy Spirit's game here. I'm playing the ego's game. Okay. The thought just keeps you connected to a thought system of the Holy Spirit, which is the counter to the ego's thought system. And that's the value of the daily lessons. Interrupting the pattern of the ego systematically and progressively over and over and over through the day. And if you keep doing that, it has to go. You're not feeding it. We talked about denying it, ignoring the ego earlier. Susie said, well, you got to ignore the ego. Yeah. And so how do you ignore the ego? Well, you let go of the thoughts and emotions as they arise that the ego's produced. That's how you do it. So it all comes back to, letting go or forgiveness. And that's a moment by moment practice. Advanced letting go is like moment by moment. I'm aware of my thoughts and emotions. I'm aware of what's coming in. And if there's a fluctuation and there's a disturbance, I'm immediately aware of it. I get it. Okay, I'm aware of that. And then, okay, I apply the lesson and I let it go, and I use my breath and I use the lesson and I release it. And so it doesn't stick. It just flows through. It blows through my mind. There's no sticking. There's no holding on, no clinging. And it just flows through. It blows through my mind, and there's no big deal then. It comes and it goes. It arises and it passes away. It's a guy called Ramakrishna, who was an enlightened sage in India. One of his students asked him, did you ever get negative thoughts? And they were quite shocked when he said, yes, actually. But the difference between me and you is they don't stick with me. They come and they go, because I just observe them. I just watch them, and they blow through my mind like leaves blowing on an autumn day in a playground, and they just blow away. And there's no holding on. I don't bunch them up and make a huge pile of them and then go and live in the pile. I just let them blow away, and they just drift away. So you'll get various egoic thoughts in the day. I still get them. I think everyone does. And then you just let them blow away. You go, no, that's not the truth. So I don't hold on to that. I just let it go, blow it away, and I restore my mind to that base level awareness. Okay, where I don't really need to think very much. I'm just in that awareness, pure formless awareness as base level. So the more I can stay there, the less thought and emotion that comes in, the happier I'm going to be. In that awareness, I'm happy, I'm peaceful. There's nothing to disturb my peace. When something comes in, there's a fluctuation. Okay, notice that and just let it go straight away. And then what's left? So the more you do that and you restore your mind to the default state of peace, the more you start realizing that state is your true state. That there really is nothing else. That base state which you keep coming to is home. That's where you belong. And everything else is just a fluctuation, a deviation off that, which is actually a denial of that. It's the covering over the base awareness. Covering over the ground of being is the ego and its world. So it's a very, very simple teaching, but it requires such vigilance and awareness to practice it that it's too much for most people. They don't want that kind of discipline. But the ones who will discipline themselves, for them, the perfect love arises and the kingdom of heaven arises for them, because they are disciplined enough to allow it to be there, consistent.
Okay. Thank you.
Was to stay peaceful and happy. All right. So
You keep cutting
we're
out.
happy to move on to number 6.
Okay.
Susie, if you can read that one. Yeah, apologies. I can try switching it. Let me just try. If I go briefly, then no, it's because I'm switching the connection. But I'll just doesn't look too good. It's on like on one bar. Probably likely to drop out. No, I'm not going to switch it. It doesn't look like it's particularly just disappeared. Okay, so we'll just have from me alone.
It's just when you get really passionate, Jono, and it cuts out, it's a shame, but you know this, so I'll continue with number 6.
Yeah.
These thoughts will not come from me alone, for they will be shared with perfect love. And so each one will bring the message of this love to me, returning messages of mine to it. And so communion with this ultimate awareness will be mine as it has willed it to be. And as its own completion joins with itself, so it will join with me, who I am complete. Oh, who am complete as I unite with it and it with me.
Thoughts on that?
It's good, isn't it? It's a really good discussion, actually. Because it just shows the mind games, the tricks that can be played on you, but stay in that awareness and it'll just work out. And like even Christine then was saying that the realization of those egoic thoughts, but you have the awareness, which is amazing, isn't it? Because normally we're not aware. And like you just said, if you have 95% of it is egoic, yet before you didn't realize, so no wonder it feels so strong in your head. No wonder it feels like you're having this personal attack, because you've never been aware of it.
Yeah, it's pretty shocking. Awakening is shocking, because you go, oh my God, like I thought it was all sort of, life was okay and normal and I was reasonably sane. And then I start coming into my true awareness and I go, what's all this crazy, what are all these crazy thoughts and emotions going on? And I become aware of them and they start becoming unacceptable to me. I can't tolerate them anymore. Whereas before they just happened, but I wasn't even aware of them. So it can be, quite a shocking experience, but that's necessary to go, okay, this is crazy. This is crazy land in there. The ego is crazy. It's insane. Yeshua is correct in what he's saying. And what he's giving me is a way out of the insanity, and I must accept it. What he's giving me is the only way of living my life functionally. So I must follow his guidance and practice this. So otherwise, I'm just in the ego and I'm in crazy land, and there's no hope in that. Just spinning my wheels around. It's a bit like being stuck in the mud. If you've ever seen a vehicle getting stuck, and the more you spin your wheels, the deeper you go. And the wheels are spinning and the mud's flying, your face is getting splattered, and you're going deeper into the mud. You ain't going nowhere. What you need is, something like a tractor or some vehicle to pull you out. So that's the Holy Spirit. No, stop spinning your wheels. You need some intervention, high intervention, to pull you out of that. And that's exactly what this mind training is. Okay, the Holy Spirit's going to intervene, and instead of spinning your wheels and just getting more and more stuck and dirty in the process, mud splattered with all the ego's negative thoughts and emotions, you get like a helicopter lift out of it. It's just going to lift you out and go, well, okay, you're above that, and we'll whisk you into a much higher state where the mud is not a factor. You're just way above that. And every time you do a lesson, you practice, it's that kind of helicopter effect happening. You're being lifted out of the mud, above the battleground. You can see it from a different perspective. You can go, well, that was really silly to, grind away and spin my wheels faster and faster and harder in the ego's thought system. It was really futile. It wasn't getting me anywhere. So let me stop that. Let me just stay in this higher awareness, which is clear, free. It's like, going up 100 meters into the sky. You're in a hot air balloon and you're just floating and everything's kind of peaceful there, just above the battleground of the earth. And so he's training us to live in that higher place. You've got the balloon view, just floating above. It's peaceful, it's quiet. None of the stuff that goes down below really affects you. You have a different perspective on it. You might still perceive it. Okay, something going on down below, but I'm not really that affected by it. I remain rooted in my higher awareness. So if you stay permanently in the balloon, that would be enlightenment. In practice, what seems to happen as we're trying to do that more and more and lift off, is we keep getting pulled back down. So the balloon's got all this weight, and it's like, okay, now you're stuck in the mud again. Okay, lift off, and you go a little bit above the ground, and then you come back down. And that, so that process might feel like you're failing, but actually it's part of the process of succeeding in raising your awareness up out of the mud into this higher awareness and maintaining it there, so the balloon can be permanently flying above in this quiet, peaceful, aware state. And you're still able to engage in the world from that point of view. You perceive it, but you're not in it. You're not of it. So be in the world, but not of it, as Yeshua advised his disciples. Okay, so any other thoughts on number 6? What's he saying there? So he's talking really about the communion.
Yeah.
Communion with my source. As I give, I receive. As its own completion joins with itself. As his own completion joins with him, so will he join with him. So we are one. We are one with this awareness. It's our own awareness. We complete it. It completes us. And that completion is the one-ment, the merging of the Father with the Son, the source with its extension, and that process is happening in our own minds and in everyone else's all the time, if we allow it. The movement towards oneness rather than separation. Okay, so number 7, he's just giving us some specific instructions.
Jono, if you switch your video off, maybe your audio will be better.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Stop the video, shall we? Okay.
Is it me to read?
Yeah. Please.
After my preparation, I merely read each of the 2 ideas assigned to me to be reviewed that day. Then I close my eyes and say them slowly to myself. There is no hurry now. Excuse me. For you, I am using time for its intent.
Error.
I let each word shine with the meaning pure fullness awareness of perfect love has given it, as it was given to me through its voice. I allow each idea which I review that day, surely that should be past tense. I allow each idea which I have reviewed that day give me the gift.
Give me.
To give me the gift that it has prepared for me through the lesson.
Yeah.
And I will use only this format for my practicing at this. Can you scroll up? Suppose I could go into email and look at it. Looks like there should be something following it. Elaine, Susie, are you there? Susie, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. His internet's been very unstable today.
Yes, it was the same yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, shall we just go on to the next paragraph?
I can't see his work now because he's got the page, isn't he? He's got the
Yeah, but it comes through on an email, so I can read it from the email.
Oh, he's here now. So let's just see what.
Sorry, I'm back. As of tomorrow, I think I'm going to go find somewhere else, because this is not, well, unless they can fix the internet. I don't have a proper broadband connection here, so it's, well, it should be, but it's just dropping in and out. So,
Are you house sitting?
no, and I'm actually renting a place. So it's very nice, but the internet is BT and it's not, it hasn't been great. The first night was okay, Sunday, whatever the first session was, and then I'm actually on a mobile signal here, using my mobile data, which also is expensive if I keep doing that. So can try switching it, but it's just the other one's unstable.
You still there, Jono?
Connect. So it can't actually even connect to it. All right. So let me share my screen again. I'll just stick with this for the moment. And can you read that? Screen share's loading. Okay. Still loading. So each hour of the day, I bring to my awareness main thought. Can you read that?
Did you want me to read it? Sorry. Each
Yes.
hour of the day, I bring to my awareness the main thought with which the day began and spend a quiet moment with it. Then I repeat the 2 ideas I practice for the day unhurriedly, spending enough time to experience the gifts that they contain for me and allow them to be received where they were meant to be.
So just telling us to, do this quite casually, allow ourselves to spend a bit of time with each thought. Very simple ideas. So, Christine, you want to read number 9?
I add no other thoughts, but let these be the messages they are. I need no more than this to give me happiness and rest, endless quiet, perfect certainty, and all my source wills that I receive as my inheritance from it. Each day of practicing, as I review, I close as the review.
Let's change that. I close the review as I began. Yeah.
Repeating first the thoughts that made the day a special time of blessing and happiness for me, and through my faithfulness restored the world from limited awareness to true awareness, from grief to joy, from pain to peace, from sin to innocence.
Yeah, beautiful. It's just he's telling us what our practicing offers us. In each moment, you spend those quiet moments, not asking for a lot of time, might be a minute, 2 minutes, if you have the time every hour, and just rest, in this kind of delicious quietness and stillness and freedom. Don't rush, just pause. You dwell on the thoughts, take some time. It's a little time out of the frenetic busyness of the day to just pause, relax, be. And these ideas are just catalysts for that experience. To just, sit still for a bit and just connect and be is really nice.
Yeah. No,
So the question is, why would you deprive yourself of such a pleasant experience every hour? It's actually really nice just to sit for an hour, a minute or two, and just be. So we're too busy with other things.
Yeah, exactly that. I set my timer and it goes off, and I'm heavily entrenched in something else, and then my mind says, okay, I'll do it later. I don't reset the time, and then next thing I'm hitting the pillow at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I start off with good intentions, so maybe if I just continue doing it in the morning and just hope that the day doesn't get busy, then I can put it into practice, and once it's regularly in practice, it'll become entrenched.
Yeah, and then you can do it on the fly. So you could be driving, you could be with other people, babysitting or whatever.
Not with other people, can't do it.
No, but you can still bring the thoughts to mind. It's not difficult to say,
No,
okay, forgiveness is the key to happiness. Okay, just let me pause a moment, just think of that for a few moments, connect with the feeling, take a deep breath. Okay, so you just checked in for 30 seconds, and you can do that anytime. It's just a simple, the lessons are simple. They're not long and complicated. So you just remember that key idea, and you spend a bit of time just with it. But that's a habit. That's going to be practice to get you into the habit of doing it. So that ultimately you can just do it wherever. Okay, lesson goes with me wherever. I practice it wherever, and I can do that. So for now, focus on trying to do the practice periods is like, okay, I'm going to set aside a bit of time and I'll listen to the breath break, or I'll just take a minute or two, breathe, follow the instructions I've given you to do it if you want to do it on your own, and actually just make it a little dedicated time. That's going to entrench the habit, so that ultimately you can do it on the fly. You could be driving. You can also do it while you're doing other things like cooking and whatever else. You don't have to have like 100% of your attention on. You can in the background you can be doing it as well. You could listen to a longer meditation while you making a salad or cooking. So that's possible as well. Or walking. That's also possible. I know you walk with Steve, so maybe if you're walking with someone else, not. If you're walking on your own, so you can find ways to to integrate it in, even if you're not fully dedicated to that. It's going on, and there's an element of mind training happening. And then it's figuring this out for yourself. I give you the tools. Yeshua gives you the tools. It's like, okay, how do I make this work for me? How do I integrate this into my life in a way that works? It's not onerous. I don't feel like this is a chore. That this is part of my everyday routine. It's how I stay connected. It's how I flow with life, and it becomes a habit. And so you're installing that and uninstalling 74 years of programming. So it's going to take a bit of time. You've only been doing this 6 months, so relatively speaking, I'd say you're doing pretty well, given that there's a whole lifetime of, and who knows how many previous lifetimes, but let's just talk about this lifetime. That's 74 years of conditioning and programming to now start interrupting and undoing. So that takes a bit of time and doing. So patience and just be gentle with yourself. It's like, okay, I'm doing all right. I'm doing my best. There's a lot to be said for that.
I think I'm probably better off than most, because over the last 20, 25 years, I've been practicing letting go and being aware as you work with clients with this process of
So
tuning
it's
into
not
higher
entirely new to you.
guidance. You automatically must be in training yourself to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think my
Not entirely
habits
new.
are as entrenched as Steve's, for example.
Yeah. Which is why you're here doing this work. You know, you haven't just come to it. Most people don't just come into the course as spiritual newbies. They've built up to it. You know, there's been various spiritual teachings and a path and a practice leading up to it, so that you're ready for it. You're like, okay, I can actually, I can do this now. And that's why you're here. And, Steve is not, in a nutshell, because you're ready and he's not. So that's how it works.
You look amazing for 74, Christine.
I know, that's what people have been telling me. Just stop putting a number to it, because it's just quite discouraging when people realize what my age is, then they start treating me like an old person. So I must just stay young and effervescent. And then when I hear of people living to 88 and 95, I think, sure, that's a long time still to live. And to live in that old category for another 20 years seems a bit self-defeating. So I must take advantage.
Yeah, I think like Jono just said, it's being kind to yourself, because you're just realising a lot of stuff just lately. And I'm like that. I can give myself a hard time and beat myself up. But you have to realise this awareness, where we don't really walk around with this awareness. Just saying what you just said today, like 99% of my thoughts are egoic. Oh, wow. I never realized that before. That's why I'm getting headache every day, because it's doing my head nutting. But I think it's really good to realize that as well. And just be easy on yourself, because you're bloody amazing. There's a lot of people would have put this down by now and thought, fuck this shit, I've got to move on. But you continue, and that's real great self-discipline, Christine. And I can only say the same, because I know I have a family here, but they don't want to know and whatever, and you keep trying to give them good bits of information they don't want to know. So you're having to put yourself first and know that you're doing it for you, because you are important and you're going to do this. You're going to, you are important and you matter. That's why you stick to it.
As a mother, I'm sure you feel you've been giving to your family and to your sons, and our whole life is one of giving, that it's very hard to give to yourself.
Oh yeah.
When I broke away from the meeting last night, Jono, I listened for 20 minutes to a life alignment Zoom where the lady was, I'd missed the first part of it, but then she had everyone thinking of affirmations about various subjects like abundance. And she was putting it in such a light-hearted way, like a matter of conversation, where you put everything you say into a positive, I am great, sort of, I am rich. And, I came away from that. In fact, all 11 of us came away from that thinking, wow, I feel so light-hearted. And that feeling of flow happens when you feel great about yourself. So the habit of always putting yourself last on the list has got to go at this stage of my life. And I caught myself with these children this morning, how I was, organized with everything, and I hadn't thought through it. So I had to think of how to tackle it on the job. So I had to focus 100%, make sure that they had crochet hooks, look at the quality of the wool and everything. And as I was doing that, I was criticizing myself for not thinking of even more. But if I look back, I did a pretty remarkable job. But when I'm in that people presence,
Mm.
I can't validate myself at all or give myself a minute breath break. I must be neurotic when I'm in front of people because I cannot ever think of myself.
Mm. It seems to be a common thing with women, especially gender specific. It's societal conditioning that women just do this. They subjugate themselves to their families and other people, and then they go like, where am I in the equation? Where does my own happiness and spiritual growth come in? And often it doesn't until later in life. So, in some ways you're in a very good position because your family's all grown up. They don't need you all the time. I mean, you obviously you help out with the kids from time to time, but by and large your time is your own. Now these are the golden years to really go deeper into spiritual practice and do it for yourself, capital self, knowing that work is benefiting the whole. That's not selfish. That's not little selfish. That's higher selfish. That's like, yes, I'm going into my deepest self and my true self. And the more that I do that, the more that I can extend that to the world. Those gifts that come from the self then flow through me. And so this is actually the most enlightened thing I can do, is do my own spiritual practice, become rooted in the self so that I can extend it in my thoughts, words, and actions. Wherever I go, it goes with me. And then by example, people might learn from you. So you don't force it down anyone's throat, but you become a wise, guiding presence in their life that they will turn to in times of need. You can be sure when, okay, well, they know you have the wisdom.
Yeah.
Is that right? I mean, that's how it works, isn't it? So you just do your own practice and your own work, and know that is the best thing that you can do for the whole.
I shall work at it.
Because you will bring that wisdom and that guidance with you into your interactions, into your relationships. Okay.
Okay.
So number 10, perfect love will give me an expanded experience. Forgotten whose turn it is, so anyone read.
Perfect love will give me an expanded experience when I practice receiving its messages in this way. And as I hold the ideas for the day in my awareness again, before I sleep, its gratitude surrounds me in the peace it will bring into my experience forever. And I'm learning now to claim again as my inheritance.
Yeah. So calling us really into this. So it's such a beautiful quality, just bringing you into the peace, claiming this as your inheritance, keeping of his word. So it's just allowing ourselves to be open to the message and just doing that daily. So it runs like this, this river of light through our lives. We're doing it hourly to help us stay in this happy, peaceful state. And we're claiming this state which we've denied of love and peace and joy now as our inheritance, saying this belongs to me. I deserve this. I'm worth this. Part of the reason why we don't practice is because we don't think we're worth it. We think we're being, the ego's told us we're being selfish by devoting time and energy to ourselves. Oh, self-indulgent. I've been called self-indulgent to do all the spiritual practice. It's like only the ego could say that. What? You're doing what you should really be doing, awakening to your true self, capital self, and the ego is going to try and deny that and say, no, that's very self-indulgent. Okay. Well, you just can't listen. Remember, of course, it's going to try and stop this. Find every reason why you can't do this, because this is its undoing. So of course it's going to be against this kind of practice. Going to try and give you every reason why you can't do this. No, you don't need to do that. You don't have the time. This is self-indulgent. Who are you to, sit around doing nothing? Get off your ass and do something useful, and on and on it goes. We know those thoughts. And that's where you just you hold into your higher awareness, you focus, you say, no, let me hold to to this truth and practice it, no matter what, because this is what's really going to work, and this is what's really helpful for me and for everyone. Yeah, so it's a bit of those qualities of like really being able to stay true and focus are often more associated with the masculine. So I'd say, for both of you, it's like bring a bit of that in. Like, okay, the focus is needed and is good. It's not that you don't care about anyone else, but you're primarily helping yourself first. It's the old in the airline. When you're catching a flight, they always tell you, put the mask over yourself. If you need oxygen, put it over yourself first, so that you're okay. So then you can help others. Because if you're, don't have enough air and you're gagging, then you're not going to be able to help others. So that's the idea.
It's
Give
that
yourself
habit.
oxygen first.
Yeah, it's that habit of caring for others, isn't it? That slips us up every now and again.
Yeah, but to understand that when you care for yourself, your higher self, that is the best way of caring for others. Because if you run yourself down, then you can't really be that useful to others. If you're out of flow, you're not connected to your source, you're not going to be that helpful to others. In fact, you'll be a negative in their life. So you care for yourself so that you can give and you can share in a deeper way. But you've got to top it up. You got to keep topping up that tank. If you keep giving and giving and giving and you're not doing your own practice, then often you feel a bit empty. It's like, I can't do it anymore. I'm given, I'm running, I'm running out of steam on the ego steam. So you've got to, these practices nurture yourself, and they bring in the life energy that is the source of all life, and that is sustainable. That's a permanent, sustainable energy, because it's coming from the eternal. And then that flows through you into others. And it's if you're a sort of naturally healing, giving type, then you have to watch that. You have to nurture yourself. You have to have that time to, okay, I need to do my own practice and rest, and in order to keep giving, because otherwise, the balance can go out, and then you can't be that helpful. So it's not self-indulgent. It's so that you can really be truly helpful and be sustainable in that. So the best performers in any field, whether it's sport or business or the arts, they know how to rest and nurture themselves. They know how to rest, and they've integrated that resting into their way of functioning. So they will take time out. They'll meditate. Maybe it's walks in nature. Maybe it's good sleep. Maybe it's practices like yoga, and whatever they figured out what works for them to rest, to nurture, to recover, so that then they can go and they can perform at a high level and they can give. And that's what we've all got to get better at doing, myself included. It's like rest. And then, so pulse your energy, rest, recover, nurture, and then you give. And there's an intuitive knowing in everyone that actually knows how to do that. So like last weekend, I'd worked so hard done like a couple of all-nighters, and I was like, I need to rest. I have to. I've got it. It's downtime. I have to, because if I keep going, then that's when burnout happens. You've got to refresh, nurture, replenish the what does Stephen Covey say? Sharpen the saw, and then you're ready to go again. Come Monday, then you're refreshed rather than worn out and run down. So whenever you take the little practice period, you do the morning and the evening, that's a longer kind of rest, and then just the minute every hour, that's a little bit of rest that you're building in to your day. And those little things, every time you rest, you top up your tank of a source presence, so that you never diminish it. You keep topping it up, then you can draw from it. It's like the well. Keep drawing from it. You give, but then you top it up, and so that level, maintains. But if you keep taking from it, never putting back into it, then it's no wonder we get tired, we get exhausted, we get burnt out. So by practicing in this way that he's recommending, there's no way you can burn out, because you continuously going back into the well of your source, and you topping that up with these practices, with the rest, and that then is a much more sustainable way of living. Okay, so any questions on this one? Comments? Just nice, instructions on how to practice the lesson. So bear those in mind every day. I'll include access to them in your daily email. All right, so that brings us to the lesson, which is a very short, sweet one, because it's just a review of previous ideas. So Susie, if you want to read the key idea, so this overall idea, and then read number 1 in the original and the alternative, please.
My mind awareness holds only what I think with God, perfect love. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Letting go is the key to happiness. Forgiveness offers everything I want. Letting go offers everything I want.
So the key translations there are obviously forgiveness becomes letting go. But it changes it, doesn't it? Okay, so letting go is the key to happiness. Forgiveness. As I said, most people don't understand what that even means. What does forgiveness mean? They don't get it unless they've done this kind of intensive mind training. It means letting go of my negative thoughts and emotions, the thoughts that negate or deny the truth. And knowing that only truth, your true awareness, pure formless awareness of perfect love, will bring you happiness and peace and love. So, deny or let go of the blocks to happiness, and then what's left is happiness. And as he's taught us, happiness is love. They're the same, just different pointers to the same underlying awareness. So letting go is the key to happiness, because it's the key to love, pure formless awareness of perfect love, which naturally brings us happiness. And letting go offers everything I truly want. Quite a statement, really. I mean, he's giving us the absolute key here. Letting go offers me everything I want. Letting go offers me everything I want. Quite an extraordinary statement, really. Saying one thing you have to do to get everything you want. Imagine if they could package that and sell that. roll out, spend your £100 and get everything you want. Well, the world would be queuing. It doesn't work that way. With the letting go, it's your own mind training. So it's the most difficult thing for us to do, because it counteracts all of our conditioning and our programming and undoes the ego. Letting go offers everything I want. Letting go is the key to happiness. Very simple statements, but now they're reviews. It brings in all of that teaching that we've done. And in the single sentence, you can bring in all of that and kind of download it and just rest in that frequency for a minute or two. And it's all there for you, brought in by this single phrase. It's like in neuro-linguistic programming, they talk about anchors. These lessons become an anchor into a state. They take you into a state, and that's what he's doing every hour. He's saying use the anchor of the lesson to get you into an altered state for that minute or two that you practice, and then you've interrupted the pattern of the ego, because you're giving yourself now an altered state experience. So you're no longer in the ego state, you're in this altered miraculous flow state. Okay, so any thoughts, comments, or questions on the lesson? No, Christine, you still there? Susie's gone. Yeah, Susie's back.
Yes,
Any comments,
I'm just
questions?
writing down everything you're saying, which is what you told Sally not to do, but
well, it's all phases of it's what's appropriate for you. So what's appropriate for Sally isn't necessarily what's appropriate for you. That's how it works.
yeah, well,
Individualized.
I really have to remember this every hour thing and take it through as an anchored state, because I also did neuro-linguistic programming. So the anchor is quite a fundamental tool to use.
Yeah.
Mind to realize that what you do in that meditative state takes you through the next hour until you do it again.
Yeah.
Until it becomes part of you.
Yeah. So the methodology that Yeshua's given us is actually pretty, it's in alignment with advanced neuro-linguistic programming, the insights from these kinds of tools that we have in the world. He's applying them. He's saying, right, you're gonna anchor yourself into an altered state every hour using a key anchor, which is the lesson. Makes from an NLP point of view, this makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What he's doing. So he's a master teacher. He understands how the mind works. It's like, okay, so I know that you're going to need this ongoing practice daily, hourly, to really get this. If you have too long a period, you do it in the morning and then you have 12 or 15 hours until your next practice in the evening, the ego's got too much of a gap to come in and start influencing your thoughts and your feelings. So we need the shorter practice periods are required to keep it at bay, to make sure you're vigilant and that you stay connected. Okay, so any other comments, questions, or thoughts on that one?
No.
Okay. Shall we go into a meditation on it then? Susie,
Yeah.
up for meditation?
She's busy.
All right.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything you want to ask or share before we do that?
No, I was just thinking about you and breaking up or not hearing you, but no, we'll be all right if it's.
Yeah, we'll just have to go with it for today. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to go somewhere else down the road. If I break up, just go into the, just enjoy the silence. Okay, so
Okay.
get yourself ready. I'm just going to start recording. All right, so just making yourselves comfortable, sitting, favorite meditation posture, feet shoulder width apart, your back, up your hands in your lap. Close your eyes. And just a nice full breath. Notice how the stomach pushes out. Chest rises, clench your sphincter muscle to lock the energy in. Pull the energy up your spine. In the crown of your head, just pausing at the top of the inhale. Maximal inhale breath. So, as usual, just check in, scan your mind, noticing any thoughts, any emotions going on, particularly anything that feels negative, negative of love, fear, thoughts, anxiety, sadness, anger, irritation, worry. Let's look at all of whatever's going on in your thoughts and your emotions. Breathe into it so the breath just allows this spacious awareness to come in. Spacious awareness arise in your mind, your heart. Put one hand in your heart center. And remind yourself that forgiveness or letting go is the key to happiness. And then exhale. And just blow out any other thoughts. So any negative thoughts, negate or deny the truth of love. Deny that your mind or awareness holds only what you think with God or perfect love. Anything that denies that is a block to the awareness of love's presence, and that block must just be let go of, released. So blow it out, blow it all away with the breeze of your breath to the nothingness that it really is. It's going, gone. Pull the lower stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. And you rest. and the deep peace and stillness. And my mind, my true awareness holds only what I think with God. My awareness holds only what I think with perfect love. Only this awareness is true. Nothing else is true. I recognize also that letting go offers me everything I want. So letting go of forgiveness offers me everything I truly want. Breathe in on that thought and just embrace the gifts. All the gifts of love and peace and joy, everything I truly want is here now for me in my awareness. And just rest in that awareness. So if any thoughts come in, to this deeper awareness, just observe them. Notice thoughts, emotions, anything that negates love, feels unpleasant, difficult, contracted, constricted, limiting in any way. Notice how that shows up in the body. Maybe it's a knot in your stomach, just butterflies, an uncomfortable feeling, tension. Notice all of this from a state of awareness. Then take another nice deep breath in. Imagine you breathing in the light of true awareness into every pore, every cell, every muscle, your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is in the light of your true awareness. I'm just going to remind yourself of today's lessons. So, mind or awareness holds only what I think with God or perfect love. Letting go is the key to my happiness and offers everything I want. So exhale and have a sense of letting go of any mental and emotional attachment to your story, to the drama. And let it go, flowing it away, the breeze of your breath. And the nothingness that it really is. Lower stomach into the spine, expel the last dramatic air out. And again, you just rest in this deep peace and stillness. Let it envelop you, let it encompass you, sink into it. The spirit, which is your own true awareness, speak to you, showing you the truth. Let yourself just experience that truth. Pure formless awareness and perfect love, we call it. And rest in this truth, in deep peace and stillness. is the truth. The next 1 minute of deep silence. So just gently coming back from this deep connected state, truth, into an awareness of body and the breath, senses and the world. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in. Noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises, and the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pausing at the top of the inhale. Smile. Scan your mind. Just notice any thoughts, emotions, related body sensations going on. Particularly anything that feels at all negative, limiting, contracted, constricting in any way. You're just going to blow that all away, consciously letting it go by saying letting go is the key to happiness. Letting go is the key to my happiness. And letting go offers everything I want. And just exhale, blow it away, the breeze of your breath. Letting go of any resistance to these statements. Anything that negates the truth that happiness is your natural state and right. Blowing it away, letting it go. Noticing how the air flows out of your mouth, chest and the stomach suck back in. The energy you raised up into the crown of your head subsides back down. Your stomach and your groin. Blowing it away with the breeze of your breath. Count of 2, notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair. And your feet touching the ground, noticing what you're feeling, your hands touching. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth, smell in your nose. And notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. Just noticing all these things from this very still, calm and surrendered state. And let them go, and you just rest in being. For a few moments in the gap between breaths, it's like a little gap in your mind, a little portal to being. So just rest in that gap for a few moments. Appreciate it, smile. Breathe in. Again, notice stomach rising, chest rising, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Notice what you're feeling in your body, touching perhaps. Maybe there's a subtle flow of air on your skin. Notice that. Notice as you breathe in the smell of the air. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth. Notice that. Notice what you're hearing. You're noticing all these things from this very still, calm, surrendered state of true awareness, state of being, blissful being. And in the beingness, you awaken to the truth that's always there, always been there, just obscured by your thoughts and emotions which cover it over. It's the veil of illusion. So Stay rooted in this being, stay connected to it by practicing today's lesson frequently, ideally every hour. Just check in, you anchor the state in with the lessons to allow this awareness to run through your day like a river of light, guiding you, taking you down stream to the great ocean of truth in the flow. Avoid the obstacles and the rapids of the ego. So practice well, ideally every hour, by listening to the breath break I sent you. It's just 4 minutes, or you can follow the instructions I gave you in your Telegram message or email, which allow you to do it in under a minute. 1 minute every hour. It's all Yeshua is asking for. Your happiness, peace, love, and ultimate awakening to the truth of who you are and transcending this whole dream of time and space. Surely that's worth it. So it is. So it is said, so it is done. And now on the count of 3, open your eyes. So just take a minute to look around, noticing various objects in the room. For a minute, just in the state of awareness. So for a few seconds, focus on anything randomly selected. No need to focus on it or deny it, just observe it. And be aware of it. Notice that the same awareness is in another object. Look at something else. Same underlying awareness. Nothing's really changed. So you're starting to learn that the objects of your sense perceptions really can't affect in any way your underlying awareness. That remains the same no matter what you look at. Do that for a few more randomly selected objects, just for a couple of seconds at a time, and notice that that awareness, that deep, restful awareness, which is the key to happiness, is always there. You can never lose it. That's why one of the early workbook lessons says God, which is this awareness, goes with you wherever you go. Because God is in your mind, because this awareness is in your mind. In fact, it is your whole mind. That's the whole message of this teaching. It is actually everything. It's your whole awareness, and anything else is illusion. It's not real. So that brings us to the end of the meditation and of the first part of the session, which is covering today's teaching and lesson. So Susie and Christine, would you like to continue a bit? There's some text we can do if you'd like to dive into the text.
I need to go now.
What's your feeling?
I need to go now.
You got to go. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us a couple of hours. Well done, and you know you're doing well, Christine. Just know that you're actually doing really well, and every day you're willing and you're trying and you're practicing, and that's all you can do. So keep doing that. Don't rest on your laurels and go, okay, now I've got it, but I don't think you do. You're a worker. So just keep doing the practices, keep working at it, and knowing that that's you're doing it. That's a work in progress. As that's Elaine's favorite saying, a work in progress. Yeah, it is a work in progress.
Yeah.
It's the daily practice, and you're doing it. Not always perfectly, but what is perfect anyway? What is the perfect practice? It's the best you can do in that moment. So that's all you do, is you keep showing up and doing the best you can do, and knowing that that's good enough. Which comes down to the worthiness, doesn't it? I'm good enough as I am, and my best is always good enough.
Okay.
Nice to see you, Christine.
Have a good
Yeah.
evening, both of you.
See you.
And you.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. We'll do another session tomorrow, same time, I think. So join us
Okay.
tomorrow at 1:30 if you can. We'll
All
try.
right. Thank you very
Susie,
much.
how are you? Are you happy to do a bit of text? Okay.
I've got to. I've
We
got to
could,
go. I did,
take
yeah,
a break.
I've got to go, Jono.
Would you like to do some text later? You got to
What?
go. Okay.
What? Sorry.
Would you like to? Can you join later if I did a session? If I did a session at say 6 o'clock?
I can't
Would you
today, if
join?
I'm honest,
Or
Jono.
is that too?
Not today, Jono.
Okay. No, fair enough. Yeah,
Uh,
that's fine. No problem. So good session. Thanks for joining.
That's okay, Jono.
And we'll see you in a week, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
See you next week.
See you soon.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Jono. Bye.
All right. Namaste. All right. So I think we'll leave the session there for today. Thanks everyone for joining. And yeah, we'll see you again tomorrow at 12:30 UK time, the 1:30 SA time. Join us again in the Zoom room if you can. If you're not a member, look down below. There's a link to join one of my free masterclass sessions. So you can join us for that and see how you can become part of these live interactive Zoom calls. Okay, so thank you to Christine and Susie for joining, and everyone else if you listened in, and keep practicing, stay focused and in the flow, and namaste, which means the forgiving self in me acknowledges and honors that same forgiving self in you.